Hi, this is a brief video to go over the lab homework for this week and the lab. The lab is really straightforward. You don't have what's the word I'm looking for? A homework sheet or a lab worksheet to turn in. Really what I recommend you do is just use these two PowerPoints. This one is PowerPoint images that are all blank, and if you click on this one, it'll look like this. Sorry, this is the beginning. Oh, and ignore that. These are actually labeled. I forgot to delete that. So if you click through, it's got all of the glands, and here's the thyroid, adrenal glands. So pictures of all of the models that we have with the glands listed or glands labeled, and then histology slides of all of the glands as well with multiple magnifications. So you just need to be able to identify the gland either under the microscope or a model, and then be able to say what hormone or hormones that gland secretes. So if it's more than one hormone, be able to list up to two, like pancreas would be insulin and glucagon. So that's it. Identify the gland, know the hormones that come from it. Straightforward. Don't worry about what the hormones do. So then back to the lab. So brief explanation here. Your actual assignment is pre and post lab quizzes, because those are easier to grade. They get graded automatically. But what I recommend you do is have this data table here handy, which should look like this, and fill out this data table as you go. Either take notes, put it in the computer, write it down, whatever. But it's this bottom line here that you're going to want for your results. So you're going to want to have results written down so that you can study them and make sense of them, and I'll make a separate video that goes over what the results are and what they mean, and I'll post that by the end of the week, or somewhere where you'll be able to access it after this is due. So if you click on the link here, it takes you to the assignment. So it's a pre-lab quiz and a post-lab quiz. You start with the pre-lab quiz, and and I should say this is a simulation software program that you're using. The quiz is here. If you click here, it will open a window with the experiment that you're supposed to do in it. So what you should do is read through the introduction first, all of this, all of that. You can take this quiz, but you don't necessarily have to. It's not the same quiz as as the quiz that you get graded on. So please read the introduction so that you understand what everything is. And then when you're done with that, you answer this quiz here. To give you a brief overview of what is going on here, you are going to be, let me see if I can get a better size for that. No, it won't let me resize it. I'm just going to go big. So we're looking at different treatments that are going to either affect or not affect the thyroid hormone levels in these rats. So before you do this, make sure that you've looked over the lecture work and that you know the effect that thyroid hormone should have on rats. And then make sure that you understood from the introduction what TX means, what hypo-X means, what is propothiouresyl, TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, and thyroxine. So you want to understand how thyroid hormone levels are regulated before you do this so that it makes sense. So you do want to pay attention when you're doing this. It's a little tedious, I'm sorry. There's no real super quick way to do it. So what you're going to be doing is basically the same thing, like 12 times over. You're measuring metabolic rates in these rats and injecting them with different things. The program tells you exactly what to do. So it says drag the normal rat into the chamber to find its basal metabolic rate. So you take the normal rat, you put it in this chamber right here. So as the rat breathes, it's going to be using up oxygen. These are supposed to be calcium carbonate crystals down here to absorb all of the CO2 that is exhaled. So the amount of volume of air inside this chamber is going to go down, and we're going to measure that. So we're measuring the milliliters of oxygen per kilogram per hour in these rats. So you do what it says to do. You stick the rat in there, you click next. Then you select weight to determine the rat's weight, so you do that, and then you click next. And it says select the clamp on the top tube of the chamber to close it. That's this one. Close that, hit next. Then if you read, it says set the timer to a minute. So you come down here, you go up to a minute, and it's not going to be a whole minute. You hit start. So here water levels here are going up because air is being consumed in here and atmospheric pressure is pushing down there. So we did that, we hit next. Then we're going to connect the air in here to this syringe by clicking that connector there. Next. Then it wants us to open this clamp so our little rat can breathe. So now, where are we? This syringe is now connected to this pipe here, and this part here is closed so that the rat can breathe outside air. And it's just the syringe and this U-tube thing that we've got. Let me see, so we did that. Sorry, hit next. Then what we're going to do, I won't read all that, but you should read it, is select how much air we think we need to inject back into here to bring these two red lines back to level. And I'm going to tell you that it's usually 7.1. Whoops. And I know it's totally annoying. You have to hit this plus button like a million times. This is a very dumb program. I'm sorry, but it gives us data, and in science you need data. So then it's going to inject the air into here. And we just watch it do that. Boop. Oh, we went past level. Whoops, 7, inject. There we go. So you just start at like 6.5 and hit inject, and if they're not level, hit plus and inject until they become level. So now they're level. So this rat has used 7 milliliters of oxygen in a minute. So we hit next, and then it tells you to calculate per hour, but you don't have to. So you can just hit submit data, and then it tells you to calculate the millimeters of oxygen per kilogram per hour, which you don't have to do. You can just hit submit data. It's going to do the calculations for you. You hit palpate thyroid. No remarkable findings. So there's no goiter in this rat, no enlarged thyroid. You hit submit, and then it's going to tell you record data. And there you go. This is the number that you're looking for. the millimeters of oxygen per kilogram per hour. This is the basal metabolic rate of this rat. That's what you want to write down here. And then if we go back, what does it tell you to do? I think the next thing is just put the rat back, right? Click the rat back. I'm not reading. And then select restore. So now the chamber has been reset. It'll ask you questions. You don't necessarily have to do them. But then basically what you're going to do is repeat the same thing with this rat and then that rat. Then you're going to inject them all with PTU and do it again. And then TSH and thyroxine. So each time it's the same procedure. It's a lot of clicking, I know. Get your basal metabolic rate, put it in here, and then what you really want to be looking at is start with the basal metabolic rate for each rat, and then pay attention to the difference between the baseline metabolic rate for that rat versus the effect of the injections on that rat. So you don't have to worry, or I should say up here you want to compare one rat to the other. Down here you want to look at the effect of the hormone, so you're really comparing this rat to its baseline with after each of the injections. So you do that, and then after you submit this, I think if you just submit all the answers, it takes you to the post-lab quiz. There we go. And there's the post-lab quiz. So then after you're done doing the experiment, you do the post-lab quiz. So again, I'm sorry, I'm scrolling all over the place. When you log in, it's going to be the pre-lab quiz. You'll take the quiz. Excuse me, it'll be the pre-lab quiz. You'll read the introduction, take the pre-lab quiz, then go back to the experiment, take the post-lab quiz. So you're going to be toggling back and forth between those two windows. So again, the pre-lab quiz will come up. You'll click on this. You'll read the introduction. You'll take the pre-lab quiz. Then you'll go back to this window, keep that open, do the experiment, and then go back and take the post-lab quiz. And these will get submitted to mastering, which will then update it to Canvas, so your grade will be automatic. But it's really this that you want to understand. And I'll make a video for this, and we can also go over it if we have any live sessions in this particular section of the class.